Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit.
In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful. He was upbeat. He seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we?
Have you had any contact with him since that meeting, the two of you?
Yeah.
Really?
Did you have Trump back on?
Yeah, at some point.
You guys still talk?
We do. Yeah, we do. I mean, we've known each other for a very long time. We talk and communicate, and I try to get insight on what's going on.
I've heard from a lot of people that I respect a great deal, leaders who are really powerful, who just wanted to let me know that that was the right thing to do. I've seen, just like the very opposite happening online.
You'll be smarter, and you have been over the last several weeks, because of what we talked about with Donald Trump for an hour and a half. We got information on where they're going, and I do report that, just like great reporters at the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal. We don't have evidence that he took advantage of young girls with Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. Just common sense be damned.
I'm not saying common sense be damned. I'm saying facts. Let's look at the facts. I mean, is he in the Epstein files?
He's obviously in the Epstein files.
We've had reporting for some time. Donald Trump is not on Epstein's list. There's nothing in there that's really damning about Donald Trump. But you said he took advantage of young girls. You have absolutely no evidence of that.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Mayday Network, and welcome to any new people who might have found us after last night. Julie and I went live, and we wanted to share the 60-minute CCOT segment that was pulled from the airwaves in the United States, but Canada went ahead and aired those. And so we went online last night to broadcast that to our subscribers and to anyone else who wanted to join us. And we woke up to a whole lot of new people. So if that's you, welcome. We hope you'll stay. This is the Mayday Network. My name is Michelle Kinney. I'm here with Julie Roginski. And we wanted to show you that that montage of Morning Joe capitulation and excusing for Donald Trump because it has been getting worse. And Julie, we can talk about this. Joe Scarborough was on TV yesterday.
Yep.
And in that last clip said he's not in the files. Reporting shows he's not in the files. There's nothing in there to tell us that he's in the files.
Well,
and I just want to say just really quick, when they went down to Mar-a-Lago right after the election, that was the end of the road, at least for me. And I know a lot of people here agree. I stopped watching. Immediately, I felt betrayed by everything that they had ever said. And, we were starting the Mayday Network, but that show is a big reason we're doing this show, because we wanted to give people an alternative to tune in the morning to people who will not bullshit you.
Yeah. There's a reason we decided to do a morning show specifically as the first show that we did. We obviously have other shows throughout the week, including one with Jeff Jarvis on Fridays, Ogle Outman on Thursdays, and so on. But the reason that we wanted to do a morning show is because of what Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski did the day after the election. I do want to say this, that if Joe Scarborough had bothered to do even a modicum of research, he pretends that he's now a journalist and not a political operative / former Republican congressman who once that guy, always that guy. Mm-hmm. But if he had done even a modicum of any kind of research, he would have known what we reported over the weekend and what we talked about, which is that, of course, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. How do we know this? Because we ran an entire segment about it, showing a redacted email that the Justice Department released just on Friday, forgetting that the Biden Justice Department was ordered by a judge to release the same email unredacted in 2024 that clearly showed that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. His name is in there, as having sex repeatedly with at least one woman, but it sounds like many women, including one woman who told somebody that Donald Trump liked flicking and sucking her nipples so much that they basically were all but falling off. So if Joe Scarborough doesn't think that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, it is because he is too lazy to do the research that we did around here. But since we're doing it for him, maybe he would take a moment to at least read other people's stuff before going off half-cocked about something he knows nothing about.
Right.
And if there's any evidence that those two just want to be close to the seat of power.
Access.
It's access.
Yep.
It's access.
And just to remind people, here is the unredacted email that yet again I have yet to see on cable news. Since
Well, this was the redacted email. Yep.
Yeah, this is the redacted, but either version of it. Here's the redacted email. Here's the unredacted email, where they redacted Donald Trump's name, but did not redact the name of one of these survivors, Ransom, which is at the bottom. This is Exhibit 6 with Ransom and a number after it. The name of the victims that they continue to talk about, that they care so much about, they're not protecting them, not even trying. This is a cover-up to protect Donald Trump. And I think if you have half a brain and you can, like Julie said, dig into this stuff and find it for yourself, because some of it's out there.
Morning Joe, by the way, Michelle, has a big staff.
Yeah.
A big staff. So Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, who pretend to do the show from New York, but actually do it typically from their house in Florida. I mean, they're never in studio. But if they don't want to take time away from hanging out at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump to do the research themselves, or even have other staff that work for them do the research for them before, again, talking about it. Hey, Joe, come watch the morning show here. Yeah. Because at least we report stuff.
Yep. And the reason that we were reminded of this, other than the fact that Joe Scarborough said this yesterday, is that there has been more stuff, more documents, more photographs that have come to light. And late last night, I think Julie and I changed the name of this show and the topics and the rundown maybe 3 times, 4 times. And so I think the last time was at 1:30 in the morning when we came across what looks like a suicide note. A few people on Twitter, I'm sure there was like a lot of people who were talking about this, but I saw it on Keith Edwards' Twitter first, so give him credit here. It says, breaking, a letter that was briefly uploaded to the DOJ website from Epstein to Larry Nassar. Larry Nassar, the guy who's in jail, who is the United States women's gymnastics doctor, who molested and assaulted young girls for many years. Hundreds. And I have some more close up here, but it says, in quotes here, our president shares our love of young, was it nubile?
Yeah.
Girls.
Let me read this whole thing out loud.
Let me put up a closer version.
Let me read this whole thing out loud. Yeah. I have not yet gone to sleep because I wrote an entire newsletter about it that I had to then scrap this morning for reasons that I will explain in a minute. But here's what this says. Dear LN being Larry Nassar, as you know by now, I have taken the quote unquote short route home. Good luck. We shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies and the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president also shares our love of young nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab snatch. whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair. Yours, J. Epstein. Now, I want to put this in context. This was letter was postmarked on August 13th, 2019.
Yep.
Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide / died on August 10th, 2013. So if this was in fact written by Jeffrey Epstein, it was written the day he killed himself, the day before he killed himself. If you believe this is Jeffrey Epstein's suicide note, and I want to be very clear, neither Michelle nor I are handwriting experts, but we do have evidence of his handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And what we know is Jeffrey Epstein's handwriting. It does not look like this person's handwriting. This looks like
I was thinking about this morning because I was like, sometimes when I'm in a hurry, like I'm like, my handwriting looks completely different than when I'm sitting there and taking the time to write a nice note. But, I don't know if that's what, Jeffrey Epstein was doing or what, but it all seems very strange. And again, like just look at the postmark. You can see it. It says J. Epstein, Manhattan Correctional. And you can see the 1 and then the 3, August 2019.
You also see that it's postmark Nova, which I think is Northern Virginia. So of course that is nowhere near the Metropolitan Correctional Facility in New York. But a couple of things about this. First, of course, this letter certainly reads very much like a suicide note if it is in fact authentic. I will also say that if you look at those text message exchanges between Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein that were not handwritten, and again, people text very quickly when they text, but Jeffrey Epstein was an abhorrent speller and grammatically not great. And I think probably if you look at what he texted Bannon, I just know this because I have a child who's dyslexic. It looks like somebody who's actually dyslexic. This does not look like a letter written by that same person. Having said that, somebody sent it, whether it was Epstein or somebody else, and it was postmarked 3 days after his death. It doesn't appear that Epstein and Nassar knew one another well, if at all. Now, Nassar was no longer serving time in Tucson, Arizona by the time Epstein sent him this note to a federal correctional facility there. Something that Epstein likely would have known if they had really been friends prior to Nassar's arrest a few years earlier than this. Now, look, even if they weren't friends, Epstein, if this in fact was written by Epstein, and I want to say this is a very big if, and there's a couple of questions we should talk about with respect to this, whether it is or it isn't, which I'll get to in a minute. But let's assume for a second that it is. Epstein, even if they weren't friends, would have been aware of Nassar's fate and the multiple sentences that Nassar received that ensured that he'd be spending the rest of his days in prison. Larry Nassar is never getting out of prison. He is serving all of his sentences, not concurrently, but one after the other. So he's never, ever getting out. Epstein seemed to be bragging. In fact, this is Epstein to Nassar that he would not be consigned to the same fate as Nassar, that he would take the quote unquote short route home to avoid the ignominy of a trial and the inevitable sentences that would put him behind bars forever. And let's not forget that apparently child molesters are treated really poorly in prison. That is like your fellow inmates will kill you on a daily basis if you are a pedophile. Now, if in fact this was Epstein, there are several plausible reasons for why Epstein might have chosen to contact Nassar, right? The most obvious, of course, is that Epstein and Nassar had a great deal in common. They were the two most famous pedophiles of the 21st century at around the same time.
Right.
But Epstein must also have known this note would have been returned to the Metropolitan Correctional Facility after his death, or even if it were to find its way to Nassar, that it would have been read by the Bureau of Prisons and ultimately hires up at the Department of Justice.
Right.
Which means that it's quite possible that Epstein wanted his old friend Donald Trump to know that he was sending these types of notes to perfect strangers and to agonize about who else Epstein was told about Trump's predilections.
Yeah. And who's to say there aren't more of these? I mean, maybe there are, maybe there aren't, but like if he's sending one to this random, I mean, not that he's a random person, but like, did they know each other? Like, did he know this Larry Nassar? Like, it's just very, It's very odd. And then I found this FBI document also on the Justice Department website. And it says, let's see, Jeffrey Epstein victim death investigation. So it's part of his death investigation. Laboratory synopsis: the laboratory division is requested to perform the examination of services below. So basically, this is saying that they're sending, the letter away for handwriting expert, analysis, and also DNA. And there's a third page here that I can throw up here as well. But this I found in like a very quick, easy Google search last night. But the whole thing is just really, really quite strange. And I want to show this also. I guess we've known that this note existed. We just haven't seen it. So this is the first time we're seeing it. This is from January of 2020. It's from 60 Minutes Overtime, ironically. It says the handwritten note found in Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell. This is a different note that was found. Convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell at the Manhattan Correctional Center in downtown Manhattan, August 10th, 2019. And then the next page here here's the note that was found. Now, maybe there's similar, I don't know the first thing about analyzing handwriting, but that's just another example of his handwriting that we can all just take a look at and think about. And it says, while Epstein surrounded himself with a collection of powerful and high-profile figures, the wealthy financier lived a majority of his life in privacy, avoiding television appearances, blah, blah, blah. He served as a gateway into learning more about secretive life the 66-year-old led, filled with controversial plea deal, luxurious travels. I mean, we know all about him now at this point. But it says the note was written on yellow-lined paper with a blue ballpoint pen, and there were complaints about jail conditions. The note says that one guard, quote, kept me in a locked shower stall for 1 hour. Another prison guard sent me burnt food, giant bugs crawling over my hands. No fun. And that's what that one says. No fun.
Yeah. I mean, again, it doesn't look like the same handwriting to me. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe this was Jeffrey Epstein's suicide note. Maybe it wasn't. I will say this. If it was Jeffrey Epstein's suicide note and Jeffrey Epstein was sending suicide notes to people, I don't think Larry Nassar, who he doesn't seem to have anything in common with other than they were both pedophiles, would be the guy that he would send the suicide note to, which begs the question, who else might have notes from Jeffrey Epstein? And did they submit them to the DOJ as part of the investigation into Epstein's death?
Right.
Or as part of the investigation into Ghislaine Maxwell before she got convicted? If not, if this is not Epstein, who the hell is it? Why is it? Is it just somebody randomly playing sort of a joke on everybody and trying to incriminate Trump? Like what is going on here? But we don't need Jeffrey Epstein to tell us in a suicide note what was going on with Trump.
Right.
Because a whole bunch of documents got uploaded to the DOJ website and then immediately got pulled down again. But people, including this, people did keep them and were able to get access to them. And there's all sorts of stuff in there, including, again, references to Trump.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That are not by any stretch of the imagination fake references to Trump.
Yeah. And it's the only thing that Joe Scarborough said that made any sense to me was the question of why Donald Trump is fighting so hard to keep all of this stuff secret.
Well,
and so the public, we know, right? We know. And it's like the more that they trickle this stuff out, like the worse it looks, the worse it gets. And like, again, he says here, as dear LN, as you know by now, I have taken the quote unquote short route home. Good luck. And then goes into talking about what they had in common. And again, what's the day that he died, Julie?
August 10th.
So he died on August 10th, and this is postmarked August 13th.
Again, we don't need this to tell us that Donald Trump had a predilection for the young ladies, as Jeffrey Epstein's potentially real, potentially fake suicide note would tell us. Because we have the words of Sarah Ransom and so many other people who said so, as well as photographs that are in the trove of documents that the DOJ refuses to release, though they have to by law.
Right. And this was briefly uploaded to the DOJ website. That's what Keith said. No, I can't confirm that. I don't know, but
it was. They uploaded a whole bunch of things to the DOJ.
And then they took them down?
Down. Yep.
And then they took them down. And so, that, for all the reasons, that's why sometimes I scratch my head. I'm like, it was up there. No, it's not. What is this? Does the handwriting match? Doesn't it? Like, and and with this DOJ specifically, you can't really, you have to, it's hard to trust anything that they're saying, anything that they're putting out. But again, when they put something up and then immediately take it back down again, that seems kind of incriminating.
Yeah.
Kind of. To say the least. To say the least.
There'll be more in this. There'll be more in this. And as the day goes on, I'm sure there'll be much more on this, and we'll be back. We'll be back to report it in the next couple of hours as soon as we have information. So I do want to talk about two other things, Michelle, that are really, I think, critical to the mental condition of our president at the moment.
Oh my God.
One is he's naming things after himself in a way that makes me believe that he is terminal and wants something there for posterity and understands that nobody's going to name anything after him after all this shit comes out. So he's doing it proactively now. Now, I shouldn't say nobody's going to not name anything after him. I'm sure MAGA will excuse the pedophilia like they've excused everything else. But nevertheless, he not only renamed the Kennedy Center, the Trump Kennedy Center last week, he also now yesterday announced that he is naming a whole new class of warships after himself.
Listen, this is where I was skeptical of your thoughts about this, because I was like, well, Donald Trump sticks his name on everything. Like, he's Trump Steaks and Trump Baca and Trump University and Trump buildings and Trump this and Trump that. But like, I guess what you're saying is that it's almost compulsive in a way that feels more like, I'm dying. I want to make sure that everyone's going to remember who I am.
I mean,
I will remember.
He must know, because he's this guy. He must know that the fever is going to break for a lot of his supporters after this is over.
Yeah.
I mean, let me tell you something. Even Joseph Stalin, who had the Soviet Union in his grasp in much bigger ways than Trump has the United States, after he died, his successors, specifically Nikita Khrushchev, held a conference where he denounced Stalinism and basically kicked him out, his body out of the mausoleum, and otherwise treated him, like the monster that he was. So, he's got to, not that he knows history, but he's got to understand that this is not going to last forever, the good times.
Right.
Plus, I think he's sick. Plus, I think we've seen this, and we've seen, his preventative MRI.
What do you mean, Julie? He seems great.
Yeah, exactly.
He's definitely staying awake during meetings in the Oval Office. He's not slurring his words. you know, and the thing is too, and this is where I invite people to go back and watch videos of Donald Trump from 2016, because it is a different person. It is a different man. And then obviously, I mean, the Arc de Trump stuff too. I mean, it's like Arc de Trump, it's Kennedy Center, and you know,
It's the East Wing, it's the Presidential Wall of Fame, all of that nonsense. And I have to say again, every time I say this, some trolls on Twitter or somewhere else are like, "What do you expect? He's older now." Well, yeah, no shit, he's older now. That's what happens when you're older. You start to get sick,
right?
And eventually you die. And some people can go another 20 years, and some people can't go past 80. It's just life.
Yep.
I would venture to say that if you are an obese, McDonald's eating, Adderall popping, stress case, who's filled with bile and hatred and has nothing good in his life other than that, the odds of you probably dying early are slightly better than for the rest of us.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
And well, and you know, again, like he was going on and on and on and on and on yesterday. Like it was there was a lot of speculation leading up to that press conference, like that he was going to declare war on Venezuela. But like meanwhile, there were reports that you know, other countries were pulling their diplomats out of Venezuela. So there's like all this kind of like, you know, conflicting information, but they come out to just say, you know, in a special press conference. And I will say this, because I was watching CNN, I was watching MSNBC, I was flipping around, and nobody was covering this. No one was covering this except for Fox News. So I had to unfortunately flip over to Fox News. And they, as soon as Pete Hegseth started talking, when he handed it over to him, they cut away, which was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, this and it just like, he's like, the boats are going to be big. They're so big, like nothing we've ever seen before. And here's my question, Julie. When will we find out who the companies are, who got the contracts for these boats? And were they donors of Donald Trump's? Are they friends of Donald Trump's? Or do they have business in front of the White House? Like what's going on?
There's only very few people or companies that can build this, right? Like very, very few, and they all have to be vetted for national security purposes. So I don't know about donors. I think this is much more of just.
I mean, do you think that even matters anymore?
You know, I think you can't. I mean, the technology to build a battleship.
No, I'm saying like that like we're vetting
national security,
military contractors.
No, of course,
yeah.
not.
I mean, like that we're vetting any military contractors. Like, I mean, I don't know. Are we doing that anymore? Honestly,
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The day Jared Kushner got national security access, top secret or super top secret security clearance, when every single national security agency said Jared Kushner's compromise, is the day that none of it mattered anymore. I want to also talk about, Michelle, about one aspect of what happened at this Turning Point USA America Fest this weekend that I think has not gotten quite the attention that it did in the moment, but became very apparent yesterday. And that is that MAGA has finally found a hill it is willing to die on. I know you might be shocked to hear this, but they have found a hill that they are willing to die on. And that hill is refusing to say no to Adolf Hitler. And I'm not kidding about that. They're not endorsing Hitler outright, because that would sound bad right now. I mean, by tomorrow, probably will be totally acceptable. But now they're couching this as in they are no longer going to be bound by quote unquote purity tests, which means that if you're Ben Shapiro and you're asking anyone in the movement to disavow open anti-Semitism and to stop praising history's single greatest genocidal butcher, that, my friends, is gauche, it's divisive, and maybe just a little too woke. I mean, literally, Ben Shapiro gets up on stage. He's one of the movement's original OGs, right?
Yeah.
And he did something that qualifies as radical to these people. He asked his own side to draw a line. He called out fellow MAGA celebrities like Tucker Carlson and I guess Steve Bannon and Megyn Kelly to stop amplifying conspiracy theories, including anti-Semitic tropes, and tell them to stop, to basically stop, to like, why are you refusing to condemn extremists like Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes? And I don't know if anybody watched that speech, but from the guests in the room, you would have thought he had suggested raising taxes. Like, they were appalled.
Yeah. There was like a few claps. But for the most part, the rest was like, how dare you?
And then the best is JT Vance, the second most powerful person in the United States, gets up on stage and he chimes in with what is literally MAGA catechism right now.
Yep.
Which is that Donald Trump didn't build this movement by imposing quote unquote endless purity tests. And then he goes, I didn't bring a list of conservatives to denounce or to deplatform. So purity tests is doing a lot of work here, my friends.
Yeah. I mean, like the whole, through line of MAGA and Donald Trump is purity test. It's a matter. Yeah. It's a matter of like, are you nice to Donald Trump? Are you saying nice things about Donald Trump? Are you doing things that Donald Trump wants you to do? I mean, and if you say one wrong thing, one thing he doesn't like, I mean, that's,
I mean, listen,
he's the biggest baby in the world.
It's like, and then Tucker gets up there, with his little typical bile, which he masquerades like, oh, I'm just asking questions. Let me appear befuddled.
Yeah.
And he goes to hear calls for like deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event. I'm like, what? It's like,
I know.
What is Shapiro asking you to do? Denounce George Washington? No, he's asking you to denounce Adolf Hitler. That's all.
Well, listen, I mean, it's funny because I remember the summer of 2023, there was sort of like this Hitler stuff used to bubble to the surface with the Moms for Liberty. Remember Moms for Liberty? There was a woman who, God, was it in Florida? Whatever, it doesn't matter. I think they had done a mention. There was a mention in one of the newsletters about Adolf Hitler. And then one of the other Moms for Liberty was on stage saying that she wasn't going to apologize for it. And then this is around the same time that Candace Owens had said something as well, that basically like Hitler had done some good things. And that I remember was extremely shocking. And that was just 2 summers ago. And I remember this very, very clearly at the time because I was at LP. And, I remember we had a couple comedy writers with us, and we were trying to figure out how to frame this in a video in a way that was like funny, but also very serious. And, it was shocking. It was shocking. But now it just kind of seems like this is sort of normal.
And for much
normal for them.
And they're sitting here patting themselves on the back for not imposing purity tests like the left. Their whole fucking movement is a purity test.
Oh yeah.
And they live for purity test.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge that Joe Biden won the 2020 election. Heresy. You can't do that.
Right.
Out.
Right.
Say that the mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th are violent insurrectionists. No, you're going to go into exile. Suggest that transgender people should walk freely among us. Bye-bye.
Right.
I mean, they have no problem purging apostates.
Mm-hmm.
Except apparently when it comes to Adolf Hitler.
Did someone mention Hitler by name?
No, but the whole point of this was that Ben Shapiro very correctly, and I can't believe
Oh, I know. I know.
Like, this is how bad it's gotten that I'm sitting here defending Ben Shapiro because the overtone has swung so far to the right here. But Ben Shapiro gets up on stage and says quite explicitly, if you are Tucker Carlson and you are platforming Nick Fuentes, who talks about how Adolf Hitler is cool and awesome and so on, you are a disgrace.
Mm-hmm.
And you shouldn't do that. And then if you're, I don't know, whoever, Megyn Kelly, I think he
good Lord.
called her out by name too. If you're platforming Candace Owens or playing footsie with Candace Owens, who thinks the Holocaust was a Jewish PR stunt,
right,
then you shouldn't do that either. You should kick these people to the curb. They belong elsewhere. They do not belong in this movement that we are building here together called MAGA. That is basically, I'm paraphrasing what Ben Shapiro said. That went way too far. Way too far. Can't do that. Oh, we can't deplatform anybody. You're not going to deplatform people who are defending Adolf Hitler?
Well, yeah, because free speech.
Free speech, right? Free speech, unless, of course,
And right, you're saying something that about Donald Trump, or you're trying to, you know, uh, produce a segment on an American concentration camp in El Salvador. But then you can't.
yeah,
There is no,
right.
and I
And of
just
course,
want to.
I just want to one more thing here. The biggest disgrace here is JG Vance, who not only gives this whole thing about how, Donald Trump didn't build this movement for purity test, right?
Mhm.
Now he's not going to deplatform anybody. And then he proceeds to basically say, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore.
Yeah, I have that clip here. Hold on, let me throw
Yeah.
this up. Here it is.
In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess
This is the same man. This is the same man who, by the way, was trying to defend his wife, who was Indian, because the white supremacists were going after him and his family. And he mentions that the white supremacists, it's been hard, whatever. And he goes, and then he said something about his wife's Usha. I know she's not white, but she's a good mom. And he has said things like this
all the time
about her and about his own children who are biracial. Like it's and I pulled this up here. This is from the 19th, and this was all over the news. So this is just one example, but this is from June of 2023. Indiana chapter of Moms for Liberty apologizes for using Hitler quote. The conservative group used the dictator's words in an inaugural newsletter. The Hamilton County chapter of Moms for Liberty launched its newsletter. The Parent Brigade on Wednesday featured prominently on the front page were words from Hitler. He alone who owns the youth gains the future.
Yep. And lest we forget, and we've talked about this before, these are people who see which way the wind is blowing. Yeah. And we said it last week. We set it up with Jeff Jarvis on the show on Friday. We talked about it since. MAGA 1.0 is over. Yeah. MAGA 2.0, MAGA 1.0 was people like Ben Shapiro, even people like Charlie Kirk. Erica Kirk, who thinks, as I keep saying, that she's going to get anywhere with Jesus and, peace, love, and telling people how to live their lives, that's not going to work anymore. Because it's about vibes now. It's not about elections. It's not about delivering results. It's about vibes. Because vibes get you clicks, right?
It's so I can't.
Vibes get you clicks.
I know. It's just vibes. Like it's just.
It is, right? I mean, this isn't accidental. Because the refusal to impose moral boundaries serves a strategic purpose. That's what I'm saying. Extremists are useful, right? They're loud, they're energized, they're immune to shame.
Yeah.
And once you accept the premise that condemning Hitler fan fiction is optional, you've already conceded the ground.
It's Julie, it's having grown up with grandparents who fought in World War II.
Right.
And right. On different fronts, right? And the thought that here we are and we're living in a world where Hitler is not like the Hitler fandom is not just like living in the shadows. It's not, it's not like some weird, corner of the internet. Like these gremlins have come up from under the ground and they have funding, they have stages. They have millions of followers. Like this should make everyone scared shitless. Like not scared into submission, but like scared to do something, to speak up, because these people have a way about them that they are the loudest voice in the room, and people are afraid to kind of engage with these people, but like they need to be called out. And that's another thing where I'm just like, where is the media on this too? Like,
Nowhere.
where is this mainstream media telling this story? And
Nowhere.
I was watching. I think we had the TV on all day yesterday because I'm visiting family, and you know, talking about like the future of MAGA and the future of the Republican Party, and saying, oh gosh, so somebody said that the Republican Party might return to like this moral, there might be some clarity like in the future. Like somebody had mentioned something like this, like where's the Republican Party going to go after this? And I was like, are
Right
you
here.
serious? Yeah, I was like, did no one at these cable news networks watch TPUSA
No.
this weekend?
Nope.
Did nobody watch
Nope.
it? I was like, because that's where we're going, guys.
Uh,
That's
we're
where we're
there.
going.
We're
Yeah.
there. It's not even that we're going there. We're there.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are there.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally, what we're doing is we're watching a major political movement debate whether anti-Semitism is merely a branding issue. That's what we're doing,
yeah.
right? I mean, and what I love about this is all of these grifters who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars each, and I seriously mean hundreds of millions of dollars each, who are up on that stage, right?
Yep. That's why, like, it's
Dressing
so
this
ironic.
up as populist humility.
Yeah.
This is what they're saying. We're the elites, after all, to tell regular people which ideas are acceptable.
Yeah.
Right? We can't tell regular people what ideas are acceptable. My God. If you want to believe that Hitler was great and the Holocaust was, some Jewish PR stunt, then by all means, I mean, who are we to tell you? I mean, we're not going to do what the Democrats do. We're not going to Bigfoot you into believing something that you don't want to believe. I mean, look, this is a movement where you can insult women, you can insult immigrants, you can insult journalists, you can insult transgender people.
There are
gay
no rules.
people, without consequence. You can echo replacement theory. Literally, with a wink. You can host white nationalists and call it free speech. But suggest that anti-Semitism is a deal breaker, and suddenly they discover the dangers of exclusion. They exclude everybody else, but suddenly the dangers of exclusion when it comes to anti-Semitism. Especially when the anti-Semite you might be denouncing, Candace Owens, and this is critical, just surpassed Joe Rogan as having the most downloaded podcast in the nation.
Oh, really? You're kidding.
Yep.
I mean, she's been in the top few for a while, but
want to know why they're all scared to do it? Because she's got the biggest megaphone in America right now. And they're all part of the grift. They don't want her coming for them.
Well, right. And for people who don't know, also, she has been going on, she's being sued by Macron and his wife because she continues to go on her podcast and other places to say that Bridget Macron has a penis and she's a man and she's trans, which she isn't. And she continues to say it and doubles down. And then, on what planet is something like that okay? Like the bar for acceptability is just is so far gone, and I just feel like we're all living on a different planet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the rules in which like you and I and the people like-minded, right? The people in this chat for the most part, right? We would never in a million years think of doing something like this, behaving this way or saying these things. But it's like in this other world that exists, like it's all fine.
But
it's all fine.
I guess what scares me about this is that the Overton window isn't just shifting. It's like somebody attached the Overton window to the fastest Ferrari on earth and is going 1 billion miles an hour down like a superhighway.
Yeah.
And remember when Grab 'em by the pussy we thought was going to get somebody kicked out of public life for good? How quaint that seems now.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's so many things that should have been career ending and they're just not anymore.
They're not. And I don't care if the Epstein files come out and there's videotape of Donald Trump having a orgy with 20 14-year-old girls. This movement will find a reason to excuse it.
Yep.
It'll be fake. It'll be a massage.
He didn't know, or
it'll be a
he's just expressing
Mossad, it'll be a Mossad intelligence operation. He was set up by the Jews. He was set up by the Israelis. He was set up by by the Democrats. He was set up by
Donald Trump is the victim. He was seduced
Donald
by
Trump.
these girls. Like it'll be something.
These girls were, like spies. The Biden crime family, the Democrats. Like there's going to be 100 different excuses
Mm-hmm.
that they're going to come up with.
Yep.
Even as they excuse away people who truly say that there's a Jewish cabal that came up with the Holocaust as a PR stunt, and that Hitler was a badass. And maybe Hitler killed a few people, but you got to break some eggs to make an omelet.
Collateral damage in their minds. And it's, Julie, it's sometimes you look in the face of evil, like this feels so evil. It's all so evil. And but I do have to continue to believe that in the end, good will prevail. It has to. And this is why we can't stop. This is why we can't stop. And this is why we cannot rely on mainstream media to tell us the truth or present these events or these facts in a way that connect the dots, right? To make sense of all of it and to prepare the American public for what's happening. I just want to say this. In the year 2025, Julie, the United States, Americans had to go to rely on people in another country to report our news to us because our news had been censored in the United States of America.
Michelle, I said it last night and I'm going to say it again today. One of my early, and I'm sorry to keep bringing this up, but it is, as I sit here looking out my window, it is snowing. It is a little reminiscent of the country I came from. So I will tell you, one of my earliest memories of my life, truly one of the earliest memories of my life, because it happens so often that it was seared into my brain. When I was, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, pick whenever your earliest memories are. Sometime in the mid-70s. My parents huddled around a transistor radio at night, trying to pick up the short wave from Voice of America that was broadcasting surreptitiously into the Soviet Union so that people living behind the Iron Curtain could find out what the truth is.
Wow. Wow.
The Canadians are our Voice of America now. We are the people living behind an Iron Curtain. And it's a self-imposed Iron Curtain. The government isn't doing it the way the Soviets did it. They're not doing it like, we're going to shut you down and put you in the gulag yet. They're basically saying to CBS, you go ahead and air it. But by the way, Larry Ellison, you want to acquire Time Warner Warner Brothers Discovery. You're not going to do that on our watch because we get to say yay or nay to that merger.
Mm-hmm.
If you run this. Trump, none of this, Dan Rather, if anybody here is on Substack, I strongly recommend that you subscribe to Dan Rather's Substack. It's called, I'm totally blanking what it's called. But anyway, you could just Google Dan or just look up Dan Rather in the search. It'll come up. It's called Steady. He has a great one out this morning where he basically connects all the dots as to what was going on.
Wow.
Trump, Barry Weiss was ready to run with this thing. And then Trump goes out and gives a speech on Friday talking about how 60 Minutes is even worse under new management than it was under old management because Donald Trump was aware that the story was coming down the pike. Of course he was, because they reached out to the administration for comment. And as soon as he did that, all of a sudden, no, we got to hold the story. We got to hold the story until we get Stephen Miller to weigh in on it. The administration had every opportunity to produce Stephen Miller for this. They reached out to DHS. They reached out to the White House for comment.
Yeah.
The administration could have produced whoever they wanted for comment. You're telling me that if the White House said, hey, we want Stephen Miller to go and rebut this, that 60 Minutes would have said no? Of course not.
Yeah. Well, I also read a story that there was like a very somber meeting after this. And somebody had said in the meeting that works there that, this is not a part-time job because apparently there was a bunch. Yeah, Scott Pelley said this is not a part-time job because apparently there were like multiple screenings
Fine.
so there was 5 screenings for Barry Weiss to come in and look it over, so that they could work on the story, develop the story together. And she missed them. She didn't come because she was too busy or doing whatever, like interviewing Erica Kirk.
She was too busy doing the Erica Kirk thing.
Yeah. And she didn't show up to these screenings. And Scott Pelley said, this is not a part-time job.
If you're going to get engaged in this, right? Like the thing is, she's the editor in chief. So she has the right to scrap whatever she wants to scrap. She is above the executive producer of 60 Minutes is Tanya Simon. She's above Tanya Simon. She's above everybody. But 60 Minutes has always, for the most part, operated independently.
Yeah.
Of the whole zeitgeist.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ellisons assured people when they acquired Paramount that they would not get engaged. That lasted for about 2 seconds.
Sure. If anybody believes any of these people and their intentions, I mean, I don't know what to tell people at this point. They're all full of shit. And this, we said this last night, I'll say it again. It is our duty, it is our responsibility to, as consumers, remove ourselves from companies as best we can, right? Because it's not always possible, but I think in this scenario, it is possible for us to hit the cancel subscription button on things like Paramount Plus. Because at least I feel like I cannot endorse, nor can I pay for any services that come from this company who's responsible for this. And I think maybe we'll learn, maybe we won't. What emails were exchanged between Barry Weiss and the White House in the days and hours leading up to this 60 Minutes broadcast, text messages, phone calls, threats. Who knows?
I don't even think it's that. I don't even think it has to be any emails. I think Donald Trump does what Donald Trump does really well. Kind of like he got up in October of not October, I forgot the timeline, but he got up in 2016 and said, Russia, if you're listening,
right.
See if you could hack those emails. The same day Russia started hacking those emails.
Yeah.
There's a phone call between Trump and Putin to do it. He just got up and said it in public. And he did it again on Friday. He got up at some rally or speech and went off on how the management of CBS under the Ellisons and 60 Minutes specifically is even worse now than it was before he greenlit this acquisition.
And here's the thing that none of these people
That's all they needed to hear. That's all they needed to hear. And by the way, sorry, one more thing. Ironically, Barry Weiss sold an entity on Substack to Paramount for $150 million. And sit down for this, my friends. It is called the Free Press. Free Press.
I did.
Yeah, I mean,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, think about that. That's what she calls it.
Oh, wow.
If she's an avatar of the Free Press, we have to get the fucking, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't even say that. Our friends up north to send us stuff that is produced here in the United States and surreptitiously, like it's like some underground railroad. We have to get them to screen record it.
Yeah. It's like this is all part of the resistance and trying to exchange and pass along information. And, again, if people want to go, on to our recent lives, it's under the Daily Dispatch playlist on our YouTube page. We aired it last night. We also have it on our Instagram account. We posted it last night, the entirety of the segment. We're at the Mayday Network on Instagram, but we're not the only ones. And we can't be the only ones. Like everyone is trying to get this out the best they can. Anybody with any kind of platform and just regular people are sharing this and posting this. And that's what needs to happen. Yeah. That's what needs to happen here.
We don't gatekeep around here. Go to our if you don't have it any other way, go to Mayday. I think it's still up as of this morning. Yeah, screen record our show from yesterday, which has that content, and send it to everybody you know. That's all.
Yep.
That's all. There's no copyright infringement here. We want you to.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to.
Yeah. And honestly, thank God for this guy who he put it on his TV and he recorded it and then he put it up on YouTube and very shortly after, because it got passed around. Like there was only like a few thousand views on it by the time I got my hands on it.
Yep.
There and then shortly after that, Paramount had flagged it for copyright and took it down. But thankfully, because I had, it's so funny, I had refreshed it in another window and it popped up that it had been taken down, but I had another window open that was still playing it. And I was like, oh shit. So I put it back to the beginning and I hit screen record on my laptop. And luckily I was able to pull it. And a lot of other people now I have even like better quality versions of it that are up all over. But you know, it's again, like we can't count on the legacy media to be doing anything for us anymore. And I again want to commend the journalists and the writers and the researchers and the people out in the field at 60 Minutes who put this story together. And, you know, for the people who were interviewed in that story, and we talked about this last night, that they risked their lives to go on the record on camera to talk about what happened to them at CCOT. And for those people and for all the people who participated in putting this story together to report this really important story, we have responsibility not only just, you know, to our free press and to the United States, but responsibility not only just, you know, to our free press and to the. I'm going to mute Julie there for a second. I think her thing is playing. Just let me know when it's, yeah. Okay. Okay. I think she was going to YouTube to see that if it was still there. And then because
No,
when you
actually,
open,
I was going somewhere else, but I just wanted
okay.
to go.
No, but it's like we have a responsibility to, you know, to them and to our democracy to just keep spreading this information and passing it around. You know, I wonder, has Barry Weiss or 60 Minutes or anything, have they come out with a statement yet this morning? I didn't see anything.
Not since this morning. She came out with a statement, which we read last night.
Yeah, but I mean, like since it came out, you know.
No. But I will also say that the person that I think, there are two people that I think we need to really tip our hat to here.
Mm-hmm.
One is obviously Sharon Alfonsi, who didn't just take this lying down, but put out a memo that I assume she knew was going to get out.
Yeah.
Which very easily could get her fired from the best gig in television.
Yep.
But she did it because she believes in a free press. She believes in doing your job without fear or favor. And she did an incredible job. The second is her producer, a woman named Oriana Zil de Granados, who had worked with Alfonsi for months on this story. So remember those two names, Alfonsi, Sharon Alfonsi, obviously, and Ariana Zil de Granados. I think sometimes the producers don't get the kudos because they're behind the scenes.
Yep.
And
women, brave women.
Those people who said that the New York Times, including Barry Weiss, who said the New York Times reported a lot of the same stuff. Yeah, okay. One is a visual medium, and one is a non-visual medium. And it is one thing to read a news story, and it's something else to see it with your own eyes.
See it, right?
See those men kneeling like this on their knees for 24 hours. To see the room where if they failed to kneel for 24 hours, they would be beaten into a pulp.
And tortured.
And according to what we saw yesterday, and again, watch the show for yourself, purposely given polluted, contaminated water that the doctors told them to drink, because according to one of the inmates there, the sicker you were, the more the doctors would make money. So even in prison, even among doctors, you had the grift. The grift, like word of the year is grift, by the way. You know how every year they have like 2026, what's the word of the year going to be? Word of the year 2026, because it's been word of the year in 2025, the grift. From doctors in Venezuela, who apparently don't give a rat's ass about their Hippocratic oath because they make more money treating sick inmates, to what you saw up on stage with Erica Kirk and Candace Owens, who was not on stage there, And all of these people who don't, Donald Trump certainly, the world is run by grifters right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a big difference between trying to make a living and then trying to stiff literally and con money out of literally everything and everywhere you go. I mean, that's what these people do. I mean, and then Erica Kirk's Freudian slip at the TPUSA event too. It's just like, because it's on mind, right? It has to be. And I mean, this is the joke that people were saying on Twitter. It's like, what stage of grief is this? When she's like out throwing hats and merch and like, buy this and make sure I mean, oh my gosh. It never ends. It never ends.
Yeah.
It never ends with any of these people. And I think it goes with like a larger theme of like, nothing is ever enough for people. There's never enough money. There's never enough power. You know, look at Donald Trump. There's never enough money, power, sycophancy, flattery. It's just, there's nothing. Nothing will be enough for a lot of these people.
Yeah.
You know? One of the, we don't have time to talk about this today, but I did just want to mention it on our way out the door here. And hopefully we can talk about this either tomorrow or sometime in between, is what's going on in Greenland. Is that Donald Trump appointed a special envoy to Greenland.
Not just a special envoy, the governor of Louisiana. Because he's got nothing else going on in his life other than apparently being the envoy to Greenland. Like, he can't.
Yeah.
Louisiana, literally one of the poorest states in the nation, that is about to lose, which I think has more people on the Affordable Care Act than virtually any place else. Yep. All of whom are about to lose their healthcare. But no, this guy's going to go hang out in Greenland. Okay.
Yep. And you know, and Donald Trump has said that he wants Greenland to become part of the United States. Denmark is very upset, rightfully, as they should be. He said yesterday somebody asked him and he was like, oh, well, you know, we need Greenland for national security. My fear here is that we're going to invade Venezuela. No one's going to do a goddamn thing. And we're going to do this against our own laws and international laws. And then we're going to try it in Greenland. And I want to just remind people also, the ambassador to Greenland is a guy named Ken Howery. He went to Stanford. He's part of the PayPal mafia. He's one of Donald Trump's biggest donors. He is friends with Elon Musk. He is super tight with Kit Kennedy, who is RFK Jr.'s daughter. He's a very powerful guy. I think he's about 51 years old. And
he's ambassador to Denmark, you're saying, not Greenland, ambassador to Denmark.
That's what I meant. But Greenland has been his whole thing.
Right.
And he is part of this whole, like, you know, he's been part of this entire mission. And he is one of those tech bros who, I mean, again, like the tech bros and the dark enlightenment people have this obsession with Greenland, which is a whole nother thing that we can talk about another day. But yeah, I mean, just keep your eye on this. It's very scary. And these people have more money than they know what to do with. So they're going to try to annex countries. Yeah. And Google Ken Howery, Howery, and yes, Denmark, not Greenland. But my point being is that he has been part of this whole Greenland operation in trying to annex it. And he's trying to work these people on behalf of Donald Trump to annex an entire country.
By the way, the Danes, I'm sure, would have been very cooperative in allowing us, as they have for decades. They have hosted us in Greenland, air base there. And I'm sure whatever issues we had around rare earth minerals, I'm sure we could have jointly explored those with Denmark, because they're our allies.
Mm-hmm.
They're our allies in NATO. They are our allies against the Russians and always have been. Not anymore, because we punch our allies in the face.
Yeah.
And
also just Mary, no, I think that's wrong. Kathleen Kit Kennedy was one of the older. Yes. Kick Kennedy, Kick. Kick Kennedy is one of the daughters of RFK Jr.
Yeah.
She's young. She's like, yeah.
There was a
you can look this up.
there was a Kit Kennedy who was JFK Jr.'s.
Yeah, and she's named after
Sorry, JFK Jr. JFK's sister, Kathleen Kennedy, who died during World War II. This is this Kit Kennedy is named after that Kit Kennedy.
Listen, you can Google like the two names to get. There's like a bajillion pictures. All these people hang out with each other. They're all friends. Politics doesn't matter. Again, there is never enough money. There is never enough power. There's never enough access to power, and this is all very Putin-esque. It's very Russia. Like the fact that we're like think that we can just go into countries and take them over. That's what's going to happen here. That's what's going to happen here. And I am afraid that once again, no one's going to do anything about it. And even if they did, I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms and line that we're going to cross. It's all just, very upsetting and scary. So, I would say keep your eye on that because it's something that will become, I think, a bigger story as we go on here.
Okay. On that note, Michelle, I have yet to go to sleep from last night.
Wait, what? You didn't go to bed?
Did not.
Okay, Julie, you can't live like this. We cannot live like this.
I know.
I texted you, I'm going to bed. This was at about 1. I said, I'm going to bed. And you said, me too. And you lied.
I did lie. I had to get a Substack out. I had to scrap a Substack that I had worked on and get a whole new one out. So there you go. All right. On that note, I'm going to go make myself some more tea and go make breakfast for my family. Well, I'm going to try to do that. It's snowing here like crazy, so I will not be able to get down my driveway until they plow us out. So I don't even know what we're doing today. So it's a good day to just hang out at home. All right.
Exactly.
Bye, everybody. Great to see you. We will see you again tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern. The construction guys, for those who are asking, Prep Talks, they did not show up today because it is snowing. So they decided to apparently, well, they can't get up our driveway even if they wanted to because we have a very slippery driveway that the minute it snows even a quarter of an inch, it becomes an ice skating rink. So cars can't go up or down.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm from the North Country. I understand. I understand all that snow.
Yep. Okay.
It's no bueno. Oh, and just if you're here, if you're new, if you're here from last night's video, welcome. We hope you'll stay. I'm Michelle. This is Julie. Please like and subscribe to this channel and to this video. If you could hit the like button down here, it will help us tremendously get the word out for all of this very important information. So everybody take care. We will see you soon, certainly tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Trump is on the Epstein list. Yeah.